Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Mitchell Ringos. The Thunder Bay Police Service is currently investigating an incident at an Edward Street residence that happened last night. Police reported that a serious assault did occur in the 100 block of South Edward Street, where one male was taken to hospital with undisclosed injuries. One male and one female were arrested and charged with aggravated assault, and for now, police continue to hold the scene. 3 communities in the Northwest say policing costs have risen so much over the years, it's forced them to band together to find a solution. In a release, the city of Kenora and the towns of Sioux Lookout and Pickle Lake, which are all policed by the OPP, say their municipalities have collectively paid $4 million more a year for policing than the average cost in other communities since 2015. Of the 306 communities policed by the OPP, the median per property cost is $300, but it is nearly triple that for Kenora, Sioux Lookout, and Pickle Lake residents who pay around $8,000 to $9,000 per property. Kenora Mayor Dan Reynard says his community will be on the hook for $6 million this year.
We're paying $4.3 million more. Think what we could do in the community with $4.3 million. You know, the first thing people say, well, you can give us a tax break. Sure we could. And then we could also still have money left over to invest, you know, in all those bridges that we have to look after. The decaying infrastructure, you know, investments in recreation, things that enhance the communities.
The end goal for all 3 communities is to work with the province to see a solution. Otherwise, they may have to further reduce services to residents and businesses. City officials are reviewing their police on space rentals in an effort to keep hate groups from renting city buildings. It comes following Monday night's city council meeting where a local pride group asked the city to do more to deter conversion therapy practices in Thunder Bay. With the federal government recently criminalizing conversion therapy with Bill C-4, city staff felt that a local ban without as much authority could be struck from the outstanding items list. Jason Veltri of the Rainbow Collective was in attendance for the meeting. He believes the gesture would be symbolic, but says the city needs to ensure spaces aren't going to be rented to organizations that would use them to promote hate speech.
There also needs to potentially even be an attestation attached to a rental form or a funding agreement that says, what is the purpose of your event? What are you speaking about? Like, we can ask that information because it's municipal facilities and it's taxpayer funded.
Council voted unanimously to have administration review its rental policies. The report will be heard at Council by September 12th. A massive gathering in downtown Ottawa today met with a massive police presence. Protesters assembled once again in the name of freedom, but this certainly was not Freedom Convoy, the sequel, to the relief of some residents and officials. Christina Tanalia reports from Ottawa.
They came to take back this sacred space.
All of you are here today to help restore and give back peace to this memorial. You are all true patriotic Canadians, and I love all of you.
After fences went up around the War Memorial temporarily following incidents during winter's Freedom Convoy, the memorial is opened and accessible to the public and has been for weeks. Yet today, again, a message of freedom.
Truckers sacrificed. These men sacrificed. These people came here and sacrificed. We are now having to deal with an information war.
There were speakers and the laying of a wreath, with veterans in attendance.
Fills me with pride.
And families, those too who oppose the heavy police presence.
We have paid tax for these policemen, but they don't protect us.
Today, this arrest shortly after the bike convoy drove off. Last night, there was an altercation with police. Police say they've now identified this woman.
I have 100% confidence in all the police agencies across the province. They're working collaboratively together, and I just want to thank them.
Ottawa police say since this morning, there's been at least 2 arrests and at least 30 vehicles towed. As for what's happening here on Parliament Hill, there are parties, speakers, and celebrations that are expected to continue into the evening. Christina Tenalia, CTV News, Ottawa.
The Thunder Bay drummers set up an informational booth at Inner City Shopping Centre today to help raise awareness towards missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. The project is for the up-and-coming National Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women, Girls and Two-Spirited Awareness Day on May 5th. Pamphlets and guides were available at the information booth to help people better understand the alarming statistics involving missing and murdered Indigenous women. Along with the information booth, there was also a raffle with prizes and a drum circle. Drum group member Charlene Bordeaux says that she thinks it's important to bring this knowledge to the public.
There's so many people out there that are not aware of the statistics regarding missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls, and it's to honor those that are missing and have been murdered, and let the families know that we grieve with them and we have not forgotten their loved ones.
The group also has a partnership with Lot 88, where red dress cookies will be offered to customers at the restaurant the first week of May. Each cookie will come with informational cards, which will have a list of websites that people can go to in order to learn more about missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. Several municipalities in the Rainy River District were on the receiving end of some provincial support recently for a variety of projects. The funding came as a part of a pre-election tour by Kenora Rainy River MPP Greg Rickford, but as Adam Riley reports, while the dollar amounts for the projects are not very high, they will have a big impact for those living and working in the area.
While many announcements from the provincial government in recent weeks have been in the millions of dollars, Greg Rickford spent some time in the Rainy River District earlier this month announcing smaller funding packets for projects he says would not have been able to happen had a retooling of the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund Corporation not taken place just over a year ago.
We spent a couple of years taking a close look at it. We always want to support everyone fairly across the regions, but it was abundantly clear that Indigenous communities and the smaller towns were just missing out on key projects.
Some of those key projects include $198,000 to upgrade safety and accessibility at the Emo-La Valley Community Centre and a further $134,000 to build an outdoor skating rink there. Also, $180,000 has been earmarked to assist the Dansk Township Community Association to upgrade a community hall. Also on the receiving end of funds was the Township of La Valley, which will be using $41,000 to give a facelift and modernize its community baseball field. Reeve Ken McKinnon says the ball field is a popular asset, attracting users from as far away as Fort Frances and Emo. But he notes funding from higher levels of government is the only way to make much-needed infrastructure upgrades, as the tax base for his community is very small.
Most of our funding goes just to the daily maintenance of the facility. With these improvements, it's going to be so much healthier, safer, and I'm sure it's going to attract, more participation.
Additionally, money was also allocated to various agriculture-based businesses and organizations. Rickford says farming and livestock is a multi-million-dollar industry in the district, but following last year's drought, the sector took a hit. And to help it recover, $200,000 will allow a local abattoir to purchase and renovate the building it currently leases. $93,000 in funding is going to the Emo Feed Service to upgrade its operations and expand grain handling abilities. And $47,000 will go to the Rainy River Soil and Crop Improvement Association for a no-till drill.
Our product is moving not just to the United States, but in light of some of the global problems happening, challenges, especially we think of Ukraine, and our hearts are with them. We stand proudly with them. But harvest isn't likely to come for much of Ukraine. So when the world comes knocking on Northern Ontario's doorstep and Northwestern Ontario's doorstep, the question is, are we ready? And I think today takes us farther down the road to saying yes.
Adam Riley, TBT News.
The students at Algonquin Avenue School were given a unique experience this past week. The school brought in a skilled wood carver to teach the kids about his culture and how he carves and creates things with cedar. George Price is from Seabird Island, BC, and was excited to share his knowledge with the students. The kids were given a hands-on experience and were able to try out for themselves the different tools and techniques Price uses in his craft. This includes splitting wood without an axe, hollowing out wood for canoes, and marking rope. Principal Darren Lenz says he's happy he's able to bring this unique experience to his students, and he's seeing a real difference in their learning when they bring in outside sources.
When there's hands-on opportunities and students are doing experiential opportunities, we notice that students are more engaged. And then when they bring it back to the classroom experiences or read or write about it, they're that much more engaged, and we get that much more out of the students.
It's nice that they're able to transport different things from far away.
It's cool to expand your knowledge on different cultures and different experiences.
Thunder Bay Correctional officers were out at 3 local Pet Value stores for their annual Correctional Cares Adopt a Pet event, where residents were given a chance to meet dogs and cats up for adoption. For the last 3 years, the fundraiser has raised money for the Thunder Dog Rescue and Caring Hearts Cats. And this year they brought in Murillo mutts. Each Pet Value had officers selling cupcakes, pup cakes, and coffee, with all proceeds going towards the local rescue at that location. Last year, due to the pandemic, the event had to be a virtual concert, but this year residents were able to stop by and meet the dogs and cats in person, and possibly put in their applications to adopt a furry friend. Director of Thunder Dog Rescue, Rebecca Esty, says she's grateful for Correctional Cares and the support from Thunder Bay community.
It's been amazing. Corrections Cares has done an amazing job for Thunder Dog Rescue. People are really good in Thunder Bay to support the animal rescues, which is awesome because I couldn't survive if they didn't.
Now joined by sports anchor Kurt Black. Now another must-win for the Walleye.
It's worked pretty well for them in games 4 and 5. The biggest question going to tonight's game, who would Matt Valley start in net? Austin Match or Eric Vanska? We'll have that answer for you right after the break.
Welcome back. Now, Kurt, this has been a tight series so far, but they need to win this next game.
Yeah, couldn't say it better myself, Mitch. It's another do-or-die game for the Fighting Walleye this evening, as the Fish are in Red Lake, looking to stave off elimination for a 3rd straight game. The Walleye seem to recapture the form that made them the SIJHL's top squad during the regular season Thursday night, as Cam River went shot for shot with Red Lake ultimately prevailing thanks to Anthony Ovieto's first of the postseason midway through the third. In net, Matt Valley will stick with the hot hand, going with Eric Vanska, who has won the last 2 games after coming in to relieve the SIJHL's goaltender of the year, Austin Madge, in Game 3. Puck dropped 7:30 from Kochner Arena in Red Lake. Over in the NHL, no games tonight after the league wrapped up the regular season yesterday. And for the Leafs, it's been a historic year, but regardless of where this edition of the Buds ranks in the team's history, Toronto's reward in the first round will be the 2-time defending Stanley Cup champions, the Tampa Bay Lightning. And while most Leafs fans are in disbelief over the daunting task that awaits Toronto, Sheldon Keefe and his men appear to be up for the challenge. That, or they have amazing poker faces.
It's a massive challenge, of course. It goes without saying. You know, back-to-back champs. But I think, you know, when I look at our group, I think the harder the better. I think that's what we need.
The first thing that jumps out is the back-to-back Stanley Cups. Obviously, they understand how to play and how to win in the playoffs. And we're trying to figure that out. So, you know, as we go into this series, I think we know these guys well.
A huge challenge for us. Exactly what we want, exactly what we need. Just we have a lot of respect for that team, what they've done the last couple of years, and it's going to be a heck of a series.
On the opposite side of the spectrum, the Canadian season came to an end last night as they beat the Panthers 10-2 with Carey Price between the pipes, a fitting end to what could be Price's final season in Montreal.
It was just an exceptional day for myself. You know, it was just, you know, I had a great sleep. It was just like an A+ day. So, you know, if it is it, then, you know, that would be a great way to do it.
I knew there's no doubt in my mind he was going to come back this year. And so I have the utmost respect for him. And, you know, I want to see him put this jersey on again because that's where he belongs and that's his net.
My honest opinion is no. You know, I don't believe that, you know, the current state would be sustainable for a whole season. I'm just continuing to get a lot of swelling in my knee. So, you know, due to that fact, it's been difficult to do a lot of things that I would consider, you know, well out there. You know, last night, for instance, it played pretty well. You know, it was a pretty good game, but in that same token, there's different aspects of goaltending that's required these days that is very difficult for me to do.
We're hoping to get and is clarity, right? In terms of, is this an injury that Carey's going to be able to recover from and return to true form or not? Is it something that he's going to be able to play with? We don't have those answers right now.
This is definitely tough, but I've always been a fighter, and I've always been a clawer, and I'm not giving up.
Meanwhile, on the diamond, the Blue Jays looking for a bounce-back performance this afternoon against the Astros after dropping the opening game of the series last night. And the Bluebirds would get off to a dream start with George Springer leading off in the first.
Again. High and deep to left. McCormick back, jumps, gone! Springer gets just enough to send it over the fence, and the Blue Jays have a 1-0 lead.
Springer sure loves playing against his old team, second of the season against Houston, and in the third he's back for more. Absolutely no doubt about this one as it soars right out of Rogers Center for Springer's 6th bomb of the year, tying Guerrero for the team lead and doubling the Jays' lead. And that would be all Toronto would need in this one as Jordan Romano slams the door shut for his Major League leading 10th save of the year. And here's today's hero, Mr. Springer.
George, we've got over 40,000 people in the building today. How much energy do you derive from the... I'm sure you get some energy from that, but how much energy do you get from this crowd?
Oh, I mean, it's everything to us. To be home, to be in our home park, our home city, our home fans. I mean, just, I can hear it. There we go. See? That's why we love being home.
Sticking on the pitch, moving on to the pitch, Canadian head coach John Herdman will be likely keeping a close eye on LFFC host Minnesota United tomorrow, as it's a match that presents an opportunity for two Canadian goalkeepers to make a statement to the Canadian boss. Luke Wildman has more.
A little over 6 months out from the World Cup, John Herdman doesn't have too many huge decisions to make when it comes to picking his squad, and the goalkeeping situation is relatively clear. Milan Borjan is the country's undisputed #1, and Maxime Crépeau his backup. Over the past 3 seasons, Crépeau has been one of the top goalkeepers in Major League Soccer, and he hardly put a foot wrong playing for Canada at last summer's CONCACAF Gold Cup.
Every time you have an opportunity, it's to really prove yourself and to make a statement.
Now, the main question is who will serve as the #3 goalkeeper within Herdman's squad.
Of course, club football is big, but on a bigger scale, being a part of that World Cup roster is definitely one of my goals.
Minnesota United's Dane Sinclair was included in Canada's squad for the final World Cup qualifying window, ahead of Vancouver's Thomas Hasal and Montreal's Sebastien Breza. A little over a month later, and Sinclair is doing everything possible to make sure he's ahead of Hasal and Breza in John Herdman's mind. Sinclair starting the season as Minnesota's backup, but opportunity came knocking back in March against the New York Red Bulls. In the absence of starting keeper Tyler Miller, Sinclair put in a Player of the Week performance, stopping a penalty in a 1-0 win.
Opportunities like this don't come often. I want to be a starter for this team in this league, but when I get an opportunity like this, I gotta take it.
Sinclair has 3 clean sheets in 6 matches this season and now goes head-to-head with the man he's trying to catch for Canada's 2nd spot in the goalkeeping ladder. LAFC keeper Maxime Crépeau has conceded just 8 goals in 8 games, and his side is leading the Western Conference. But despite playing 2 fewer matches than Crépeau, Sinclair at this stage has more clean sheets, more saves, and a better save percentage. It's not unusual in squads at a major championships for a 2nd or 3rd string keeper to have to take a big role due to injuries and illness. And having a penalty saving specialist is also becoming a trend.
Dane St. Clair with the penalty save.
The young man comes up with the goods once again.
Remarkably, St. Clair hasn't conceded any of the 4 penalties he's faced in his Major League Soccer career. Crépeau has allowed 12 goals on 14 attempts from the spot. When LAFC and Minnesota step on the pitch on Sunday, it will be just the 4th different all-Canadian goalkeeping matchup in the league's history. And for Crépeau and St. Clair, more on the line in this World Cup year than just 3 points.
Thanks, Kurt. Now on to weather. Plenty of rain in the coming forecast. We'll have all that and more after the break.